Good morning, everyone. I'm Faraz from Alexa Systems, and I welcome all of you to our webinar series on opportunities ahead. Today, these are unprecedented times. Our businesses are closed, our universities are shut down, and there is uncertainty in the future. But there is a ray of hope. There's a great ray of hope, like which you can see in this particular webinar series as well. That despite all the problems, despite all the geographical distances, many people have come together to understand what will be the vision forward, what will be the opportunities forward. Because in the end, we all want to unite together, strive hard, and make our future better than what was before. Uh, Today we have Dr. D.K. Aswal sir from CSR City. Dr. Chitra ma'am would introduce her just now.
Hello. Good morning, Aswal sir, and all the attendees. Now I am briefing about the Aswal sir. Dr. D.K. Aswal has been an outstanding scientist at Baba Atomic Research Center, Department of Atomic Energy, Government of India. He has also served as Secretary, Atomic Energy Education Society. Dr. Aswal started his career from BAC after completing his MSc in physics from Garhwal University. He obtained PhD in physics from Mumbai University and subsequently carried out postdoctoral research work at Research Institute of Electronics, Hamamatsu, Japan. He is a condensed matter physicist of international repute and has made several outstanding contributions in the areas of molecular electronics, physics of organic films and their applications, thermoelectric power generators, and gas sensors. He has edited 3 books, contributed 20 book chapters, and published over 250 peer-reviewed journals. He has filed 3 patents and subsequently secured the trademark for Bharatiya Nirdeshak Dravya, the Indian certified reference material. His current focus is to enhance the meteorological capabilities of India at par with international standards for continuous improvement of the quality and safety of life in the country and making CSIR NPL as a growth engine of the nation by supporting industries and strategic sectors through apex calibration facilities. Dr. Aswal is well attributed for the NPL campaign Timekeeper of the Nation. He advocates the necessity of standards and protocols as a basic step towards quality infrastructure. He is a champion speaker and an active player in pursuing quality infrastructure through national policies benefiting industries, academia, and strategic sector. He is currently leading CSIR Siri and CSIR NPL as director. With this brief introduction, I welcome you, sir, on behalf of our audience. Now, we can start our session, sir. So, I would like to hand over session to Dr. Aswal, sir. Sir, please.
Yeah, a very good morning to all of you. And I am happy that the Alexa and the Siri together, they have got this webinar series. And I understand that you have already heard 2 prominent lectures. And for that, let me appreciate the efforts made by Faraj, Pramod, Harshit, and Chitra. This, this world, as we know, is made of atoms. Everything what we see around this world is made of atoms, which we learn right from our high school education. And as you know that atoms are built of neutron, proton, and electron. And these few atoms, when they join together, they form the molecules. And you know that amino acid, the protons, the lipids, the oils, the fatty acids, amino acids. So big molecules of various compositions are built. So just to give you a feel of sizes, the atom is typically 0.1 nanometer. And when they couple together, they form molecules as big as 10 nanometers. Now, the man-made smallest particles, which is a little functional, is known as a buckyball, called known as the carbon 60. And the lipids are typically of the size of 2 to 3 nanometers. Proteins are roughly 8 to 10 nanometers. What we are talking about is the flu viruses, the coronavirus. They are typically 100 nanometer in size, just 100 nanometer. As you know that they have created the pandemic across the world, and you will be astonished to know that if you weigh the entire mass of this virus till date, which is spread across the globe, it will be less than a gram. So less than a gram of the particles of this corona has created havoc across the globe. And as you grow the inside size, then you have got the bacteria, you have got the mitochondria, then you have a red blood cell, you have an animal cell, plant cell, human egg, protein, and frog egg. Frog egg is roughly 1 millimeter. So that is the typical dimensions which are talking about. Now the second question comes when you have got these kind of viruses, particularly coronavirus, why started infecting? Now if you see the design of this coronavirus, inside it has got the RNA and it is covered by a lipid protein that is known as a M protein, and then there are spikes which is known as the S spike. So if you see that red kind of ball or blue kind of ball, these TV channel they show, essentially that's showing that it is the spherical in nature and it has the spikes out coming out of it. So those spikes, they are essentially are the S protein. And these S protein, when these particles, let me tell you, these are the non-living particles. Viruses are not the living organism. They are only the particles, like you have got a carbon 60 or buckyballs or any mic you might have heard of it, like a dust particle. But inside that, you have got the RNA. And the beauty of this S protein is that when it enters in a host in your body, it makes a friendly relationship with the so-called the ACE2 cell of our membrane cells. Now, these protein of our membrane cell gets friendly with these spikes and they get attached to it. And then they make a friendly, they go into the cell, they disintegrate inside, and once they integrate inside, these cells started replicating themselves. And then many viruses, they come out of it. In the process, they damage the cells and the residue, they are collected at our lungs. We have the breathing problems and therefore we can die. Now, as in today, I was seeing the morning news and I was looking at it. So 42 lakh people so far have been infected by this virus. 2.87 lakh people have already died. But the plus point is that 15.3 lakh people have recovered completely. So I was trying to look the graph of this pandemic. As you know that we are almost 6 months old now. This started somewhere December 2019 and we are in the month of May. So roughly for 6 months, we have got the data. So if you look the world data from up to April 3, it was growing exponentially. And thanks to the governments, they put on the lockdown. As you know, they are the particles and only they communicate or they transmit from one person to other person only via the air droplets. And when these air droplets intend from one person to other person, these viruses are communicated. And viruses, when they find the host, which I just discussed, they will multiply in your body and create a lot of problems. So up to April 3, there was an exponential increase. And because of the lockdown across the world, globe, this turned from exponential to the linear curve. Now from April 3 to till today, I was looking on this data, and there are roughly 50,000 patients per day getting infected across the globe. And similarly, death also, initially it was exponential, now it has become linear, but still 5,000 people per day are dying, and still it remains the linear. So, as the government says, do gaz duri hai jaruri. Perfect. The only way as on today, since we do not have any medicine yet, we do not have any vaccines yet, and anything which will come, in my opinion, we are not going to get these medicines until September. That is my earliest guess. So, do gaz duri hai jaruri, we should follow. The personal hygiene we must follow. There are some research. You might have heard that Remdesivir is the one of the medicine that is supposed to be a good medicine. Vaccines are being claimed across the globe, but it is going to take time. So another 6 months we should live with COVID. And as the statistics shows that most of the young people are safe. It is largely affecting the old people. By and large, higher percentage of the mortality is in the high age domain. So for young people, it is fairly safe. So you need not worry about it. Now, the biggest problem this pandemic has resulted in, apart from the so many deaths, is the economy. The economy has been halted due to this lockdown. So many people do question, was the lockdown necessary? Answer was yes. If lockdown was not imposed, we would have been the large number of deaths. What we have done by lockdown, we have ensured that the deaths are minimized. And just to compare, in 1918 there was a Spanish flu about 100 years ago, and roughly 5 crore people died in that pandemic. So we are very lucky that because of the science and technology, because of the strong leadership across the globe, the lockdown was imposed and we could save so many lives. But the flip side is, because of this lockdown, the economy is completely at still. It has been completely halted. So the COVID is going to be there for another 1.5 to 2 years time. And therefore, the key question is that how we are going to regain our economy while living with the COVID. It means we have to rethink. There are few key questions they will come in. What is the fundamental shifts? The normal way of life is not going to be there for another 1.5 to 2 years. So we have to understand, we have to analyze. And as youngsters, you have to give a thought process. What are the fundamental shifts that will take place in next 1.5 to 2 years time? We have to get matured for that. We have to get prepared for that. What are the sectors that will be impacted most? And how we are going to go ahead. Now, as it is a communicable disease, everybody is worried about touching anything. Because the moment you touch, you have a psychic fear that the corona may transmit to you. So therefore, the fundamental shift in the new economy is going to be a touch-free economy, or you can say the low-touch economy. Now, low-touch economy can only come from the augmented reality. Now, the fundamental shift, if we debate a bit of that, and I will request listeners and the audience and the participants, if you have got any questions coming up when I'm speaking, you can write your questions in the chat box or in the question box. Now, what are the fundamental shifts? First, as you might have been seeing that every day at 4 o'clock, the government comes with the rules and regulations. It means the rules and policies from top down will keep on changing depending upon how it is going. So, as a citizen looking for the betterment of the country, we should look in those policies. Now, limited gathering is there now, you can't gather, and therefore we have got this virtual hall or virtual platform. We are going to have the travel restrictions. We are not going to travel too much. Hygiene is going to be must, and we have to protect ourselves. We will also have to have a new habits to work, remote working, and the e-business is going to be large. Everywhere we are going to have the e-commerce, e-trading, everything has to be e. The digital era is going to be there. And therefore, I am sure that the opportunities for you youngsters is going to be very, very large. So there are going to be a top-down enforcement, and in addition to that, you should also look in bottom-up approach, where you build your economy or your ideas and transmit through various mediums that these are policy and they will look into it. Now, just I was looking for this ICRA, that is the Investment and Enforcement Credit Agency. They have analyzed that which of the industries have biggest problem, which of the industries are going to face problem. So, honestly speaking, as per the ICRA, those who are not affected much are the education, dairy product, fertilizers, healthcare, food and food products, insurance, telecom, utilization, sugar, tea, coffee, agriculture produce. They will not be affected much. The little higher risk areas are automobiles, components, building material, constructions, chemicals, residential, consumers, pharmaceutical, banking, mining, paper, footwear, glass, plastic, power trading. They are going to be little high risk one. And very high risk are aviation, hotel, restaurants, auto dealership, gems and jewelries, because if you don't have money, how you are going to buy the jewelries? Retail, shipping, port services, seafood, and so many things. So, may I request that please unmute your mic? Yeah. So why I am showing you these various sectors, because I know that you are the people of the virtual reality and augmented reality. You can pick up the field where your business will prosper. Now, what other shift will take place? Now, so far we have been talking about the globalization. So whether the globalization will be there, because whatever the money we have got, that money we would like to spend in our neighborhood. Of course, as I said, that automation will increase. And for last 4 years, I was dealing with the MSMEs across the country. In 2011 onwards, in 2011, 40% of the export was done by our MSMEs. And unfortunately, with passage of time, the contribution of MSMEs were declining, largely due to the huge growth of the Chinese market or Chinese products. So low cost, high quality materials started coming from China, though they were not of that high quality, but as compared to what we produce by MSME, they were slightly better than them, and therefore our MSMEs were on the decline path. With the lockdown, most of the laborers they have migrated. So the MSMEs are bleeding. So roughly 20 crore people, those who are working in MSMEs, they are essentially in a deep trouble. And therefore, it is our responsibility to look after them. So if we have to increase their production, if we have to increase their value in the market, we have to support them by automation, maybe introducing a digital component to it, and the shift of mindset of those people need to be augmented well by the new way of going everything digital. As I said that we are going to be little touch free or less touch economy. Of course, since we'll be sitting at home, so we'll have the anxiety, we'll have the stress. And as I said that the unprecedented job losses are already taking place. So in order to save these MSMEs as well as the big businesses as well as the various industries, the IT is going to play a big role. And as you know that the AR is a big tool which is going to be like a touch-free economy. And as you know that in AR, you merge the physical world with the virtual world. Now, when you merge one, but it is not that the AR can do alone everything. In AR, even you need the hardware, you need the display devices, you need the input devices. Software, of course, you need, and you need the server. So these three are essentially form the network of the AR. And when we are talking about the hardware, unfortunately, in India, most of the hardware that come from outside. Even you have to make a simple AR goggles or chasma. As you know, that is not that simple. It has got a tilt sensor, gyroscope, it has got a computing interface, it has a camera, it has a projector, it has got a network antenna. And when we make that kind of sensor, most of the time they are imported. So some point of time at MSME level, the integration of the part which is required by India, that should be encouraged. Of course, software we should anyway continue. And this AR has been in vogue for last at least couple of years. And if you go to the International Data Corporation 2000 worldwide quarterly, it shows that the market of AR is going to tremendously increase. But with the onset of this pandemic, there is a huge scope for the AR. And therefore, I personally believe that the role of AR is going to be very important. So now, in the ICRA list, I told you that which are the places where the economy has suffered. And now I am going to tell you how AR can help various industries. So let us talk first the service industry. In service industry, still we work upon the trust basis. ये मेरा दोस्त है तो कर ले इसको. In my opinion, in long term, that is not going to work. You have to be more professional. So for that, the manuals, the instructions, the service inspections, remote expert guidance, customer self-service. So these components, they need to be built in through the AR. Similarly, manufacturing. In manufacturing, as you know, that first we generate a concept, then we make a prototype, then we validate it. After validating, we go for a manufacturing. After manufacturing, we go to the marketing. So this concept to the manufacturing one, everywhere AR is going to play a key role. So it is going to play a key role in creating the quality assurance, assembly instructions, performance, manufacturing itself. So all these components they need to be built in for the manufacturing. And when you go for the sales and marketing, again, the AR is going to be a big player, product display, demonstration, the advertisements, and optimization of the retail space. Which product will go where and what is going to be market? That kind of analysis, so many times they call it big data analysis, that need to be done. As I already said, that designs for the new components, the operation. Now, when you are going for touch-free operation, can we involve the AR where most of the operation of the machineries can be done through the, for example, the head-up displays. You just show tilt your head and your functions are done, or you raise your hand and the functions are done. And to achieve that, we have to create a huge amount of trained manpower. So can we do that trains? And even in the hospitals, doctor don't have to do surgery. One can invoke the AR to machine to do the surgery. So this, in the new scenario, there are going to be many investors, and the investment will come from the automobile sectors, the technology, media and telecom sectors, healthcare. Everybody wants to be touch free now. Retail and consumer, industrial products, power utility, public sector, energy and mining, financial services, hospitality and leisure. You see, name the sector, everywhere you are going to be there. The AR is going to be everywhere. Of course, the strategic goal one should answer that the manufacturing quality using this AR should be better than the previous one. It means, can you reduce the size of the object? Can you reduce the cost? Can you improve the quality? So all those factors will come in. Can you enhance the sale? So these kind of points, they will come in the picture. Now, when you are doing it, when you are entering the new domain, definitely the work culture is going to be different. We all are at different places, but together. So this is a paradigm shift. So the employment is going to be a different fashion. So first thing is going to happen is that we have to unlearn the old habits. If we are biased with the old way of thinking, probably we are not going to get the new ideas. So as I said, that the new domain post-COVID or COVIDized world is going to be entirely different than the current one. So we have to unlearn some of the bad things. The personal skill, it has to be a very different. So we have to be adaptable and we have to be tech savvy. And since you are the investors, so you have less amount to unlearn compared to older like us. We have to unlearn many things. And the attitude should be a focused one. You have to create a end-to-end problem, say concept to the market delivery, and finish that off. You can't leave that halfway through. That is not going to work it. So these are going to be a paradigm shift.
Okay.
Disruption. I'm going to finish in a few minutes. So disruption is going to be, again, everybody talks about. So thinking ability should be there, and that should be iterative. Since we are entering the new domain, and anytime we do enter in the new domain, there is to be going to be if one should have the flexible mindset. Something may work, something may not work. The rigidity is not going to work. So I think the final, what I'm saying that while we are going into the business, or we are going to take a startup, we are going to entrepreneurship, the impact assessment has to be there. One has to develop a strategy, and we have to be offensive. Go with the big guns, and finally make it happen. So with this, I will close this presentation, and I will invite the talk. The questions I invited.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your session, sir. It was wonderful hearing about your opinions on how augmented reality can lead to an untouched economy. That's a wonderful word that I haven't heard before, and it's really nice to hear that. Now, sir, can I ask a personal question? Like I was just wondering a question while we were talking. So can I
Yes.
ask that, and then we can head to the attendees as well?
Yes, yes, sure.
Yeah. So the foremost question that has come into my mind is that in India there's a huge case of poverty. I mean, we are seeing 40 lakh migrant laborers moving from one state to another. There is starvation, and these are the problems. In the end, we are a third world country. So,
Yes.
sir, in these particular times, what do you think? Will the industrial 4.0 technologies are they too upshot? I mean, are they even needed right now? Don't we need food right now? Don't we need better services? Like at least people should stay alive. That should be a better, more a higher priority rather than focusing on new technologies.
You see, in India, thanks to the Professor Swaminathan, India does not have any scarcity of food.
Okay.
Government has said again and again, India has got a food store for another 3 years. So availability of the food is not an issue at all. What is the issue is the mechanism by which the food can be delivered to the poor people. In fact, in India, we have a problem of storage, food storage. Now, so many vegetables are being grown, and you might have seen on one hand, the people are not getting food. On the other hand, people are throwing away their farms. The tomato they have thrown, the capsicum they have thrown, the all vegetables they are just throwing, the milk they are throwing. So, if we have got a industry 4.0 kind of platform where we have got a plenty of robots, we use our GPS map where poor people are there. We order that okay, foods are available there. You go there, pick up the food, give to these people. You know, so this is just a imagination. So that problem would have not been there at all. But you are rightly said. Though on one hand we have to go industry 4.0 as their application, the biggest thing which I feel is the housing sector. See, these people they are running away not just because of food, not just because of job, because food probably they were getting. The problem was 10 to 20 people living in a 100 square feet area in cities like Bombay and Delhi. So when we are talking about a social distance and when we say that we should have 2 gaz duri, in a room of 10 by 10, how 10 or 12 people can have the 2 by 2, that 2 gaz duri? And when so many people are inside a house, they don't have to go outside, they feel suffocated. So there was a stress. So they started moving that at least in back home, they have got their house, they have got their own field, so they can have a little, free air to breathe. So that's why the migration, one of the biggest reason migration was the not availability of the comfortable housing for them.
Wonderful points, sir. Wonderful. And thank you, sir, for sharing that. Harshit, let's have some attendees come into the panel and ask some questions.
Yes, Soham Kulkarni, if you can, Sagar Kulkarni, if you can raise your hand, then you can come and ask your question. And same goes to anyone who has put their questions in the chat section or the question section.
Okay. Meanwhile, Sagar comes
So,
online.
there is a question. Yeah.
Harshit, just a minute. Meanwhile, when Sagar comes online, I'll
Yeah.
just ask one question which I have been put up by Rashmi Chawla from JC Bose University. So, sir, she wants to know, please share your views on how industry domain will change after COVID-19 and from students' employability perspective. So, the question which I can rephrase the question, she wants to know, already employability is at this level and the employability of our engineers is again an issue. So, do you think that post-COVID things will be so tight that our employability rate will give up?
You see, now when the government has so many things to do, let the new generation, they should come up with their own jobs. So when I was making this presentation, my focus was exactly there. I have given you the gray areas where the youngsters can create the job opportunities. So let us not go with a mindset that government will give us a job. So that's why I said that we have to unlearn many things.
Good,
One of
sir.
the biggest problem which I find with the academia, the students, we only get graduated, we only get degrees to get a government job. So we have to unlearn that process. We have to get graduated to create a job, not only for myself, but for others also. So that paradigm shift which I was talking about is exactly that. So don't expect job creation by the government. The job creation has to be done by the startup entrepreneurs. And that's why I'm very happy that you have taken up this platform, because the AR is going to be a very, very vital one.
Yes, sir.
And when I was speaking, I was saying that the mechanism has to be a little different. We are very far away where we are together. So we have to focus a problem, create a concept, and go to the end product. And when you do that, you are going to create a huge number of jobs.
Yes, sir.
So the intellectuals should create many, many jobs. And I will tell you, this will be a buzzword. Anti-intellectual who is asking for a job, it means he is not intellectual. So some point of time that should be abusive word. Any graduate
Yes,
asking
sir.
for a job.
Good, sir.
That was a wonderful stay sentence. So I would like to ask tell to other audience that you can use the raise your hand option, which is on the right side of the panel, to come onto the to come to the stage and ask the question directly. Yeah. So we have Sanjay Joshi from Thapar, and I think Sanjay had previously asked a question regarding automation of job, and this what are the future prospects of it. Sanjay, I am handing over the mic to you.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sanjay, you're totally audible and it's fine.
Yeah, greetings. So, is automation a threat to the future employability? That is, if I mean, there are a lot of people who have to work to get a living, and if you're automating it by machines, is that really the right thing to do?
You see, that's what I said. We need to unlearn the past things. You see, today we have got one kind of virus, tomorrow there could be another kind of virus. So I says that touch-free technologies is the key word is that is going to for future. So untouched technologies require automation. And now somehow people say that if you do automation, the jobs are going to less. You see, automation itself requires too many jobs. So I'm sure that the young people should not ask that question. Now, I know that sometimes the worry comes because most of our poor people, they are uneducated. So that is where the challenge is. You see the mobile, the smartphone, everybody, even the in the villages, the old grandma of 100 years, they use the nowadays the smartphone. So it means that the technology has gone to that level that even a uneducated person can operate a device. So we should build up a business, even that a uneducated person can use these technologies for the business purposes. Say,
Yeah.
for example,
Yeah. So I
I
think
know in many cases in Bombay, the barber shop, even the roadside barber shop, they had an app around 4 or 5 years ago. I'm talking about. So you get appointment and you go as per that one. So I think the youngsters, they should really think of a new perspective where everything can be controlled by the automation. Yeah.
Yes,
Next
sir.
question.
sure, sure.
Uh, so,
Thank you,
so
Sanjay, for asking the question.
hmm.
Yep. And now I'm handing over the mic to Sagar Kulkarni, who is from BITS Pilani Goa campus. Sagar had doubts regarding the, the readiness of India to become a robust economy.
Are you asking the question or shall I answer it?
Yeah, Sagar is coming. Sir, Sagar is coming live to ask the question.
Okay.
Hmm. I think there's some network issue from his side.
Yeah.
Uh,
So his question is that are we ready?
yeah.
You see,
So
we are not
if
yet ready fully.
I can read out the
We
questions from the
yeah.
chat, sir. As you said that there will be an untouched economic growth which leads to AR, but is India ready to take such a big step as it requires a huge capital?
You see, with
Thank
so
you.
many young people across the country, why we should worry about that? So we have to create that kind of enthusiasm among our youngsters. You see, sitting at
Definitely.
home, we should build the groups. I know that it's not yet ready, but you see, you young people are there. You have to get it ready. Nobody is going to come from outside and make our economy ready. So we have to gear up. We have to work hard.
Wonderful points, sir. Wonderful points, sir. Like, actually, I would like to personally acclaim to this point. And as in, there have been too many people saying what are the problems are, what are the issues that the government is not solving, what is not happening. But for the first time, I'm actually hearing some a call for action, a call for work hard to work harder and to make the life for ourselves. And I think so. That's what can make India great, sir. That's wonderful point, sir. Thank you for sharing these.
You see, now let me tell you, during this pandemic period, when I asked my scientists at NPL, why can't we talk to the industry people and get the made in India products ready? And I will tell you, the youngsters outside, they are not typically of the traditional thinking. And I am happy to tell you, many products they have come up and which are the touch free. Okay, and you will see that in next few months, many products across the country will be flooded which are touch free. And already you are seeing many products that are coming up. So what we should ensure that the quality is not hampered. What we have to ensure that those products are made as per the standards. What we have to ensure that any time when they are subject to the international level of standards, they fulfill the criteria. So if we ensure that, why should not? And I'm sure that the only thing which I'm saying again is we have to first unlearn the negativity mindset. What they are doing, all the time we are asking questions out. We are not asking the question ourselves. I'm educated. Why I'm asking a job from the government? I'm
Wonderful,
so
sir.
creative. I feel myself. I'm very intelligent. Why I'm not creating the jobs? So that kind of mindset. So my first point, which I'm saying again and again, we need to unlearn the way we have been thinking. Yeah, we can go for
Yeah,
another question.
yeah. This directly maps to like Prime Minister's vision of a self-reliant India, as was stated in 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks earlier, sir. So that we can
Yes.
become a self-reliant economy and not dependent on China for our products or our services. So this can lead to a better
True.
India as well. Yeah, Harshad, let's take another question.
Yeah. So, sir, there is a question from Trilok Sharma, and Trilok Sharma is he wants to know about how can standard procedure of calibration impact the ventilator manufacturing industry and the manufacturing industries in the coming years with respect to the lockdown.
Yeah. You see, the
Yes.
ventilator is essentially a very high end sophisticated equipment. And somehow in India, we are under wrong impression that pushing the air to the lungs of the patient is helpful. If you see the President Trump's statement, he said that the ventilators are like the dashboard of aeroplane. You see, essentially, the ventilators are the artificial lungs. So when a lung is almost in damaged condition, the ventilator plays a role of your lung. So making those kind of ventilators are very, very difficult. Now, what we are talking about the low cost ventilator, essentially they are the BiPAPs. When the lungs is in a strong condition and you can push some of the air inside. But even that, you can't push a large amount of air. Remember, these are the internal organs. We are made of only organic compounds. And if you put a little pressure, they will rupture. So therefore, the calibration of the flow rate should be done. And as a science student, one should be very, very aware that the measurement at any place is a key thing. If you want to say this is the pressure, we should be very sure that that is the pressure. Not only the pressure, there is the uncertainty. So there is a standard definition of measurement that any measurement which you do, one should ensure that that is traceable to the SI unit, International System of Unit, which has a 7 SI unit, and for which NPL is the National Measurement Unit. Already we support 3,000 big industries across the country. We support roughly 5,000 NABL accredited laboratory now. So one of the biggest problem of our failure in India has been not able to understand the measurement. If you understand the measurement, we ensure the calibration to the SI unit, we are going to do the perfect job. There's no way that we can fail. We can take up next
Okay.
question.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. So, we have Swapnil Padhi from Bits Pilani, and Swapnil wants to ask that how to develop a new market for fostering new entrepreneurs and their ventures, since they struggle to establish themselves in the market in the kind of upcoming COVID-19 situation.
You see, those who have succeeded in their life, they never talk about the hurdles. Hurdles are part and parcel of life. So if you are determined, you are going to clear those hurdles. But if you make hurdles as a problem, I'm sure that you are only making the excuses. You
Indeed,
see,
sir.
during this pandemic time, India was not making any PPE kits. During this time, India is making 2 lakh PPE kits per day. How did it happen? Because there are a set of people, they are highly optimistic, they are highly energetic, they want to go for a solution. Has been
Yes.
done.
Yeah.
Say, for example, there
And
was one industrialist, he wanted to make some item from NPL. He lived in Gurgaon, and as you know, the Delhi-Gurgaon border was sealed up. A common person will say that how I do go, police is not allowing to go, these, that, all excuses will come. He went to the police, I'm going to do this and this and this is going, I have to go NPL. He said, that's very good, you please go. He said, you want security, I will give you security also. So the hurdles can be made to opportunities. And when he explained the police inspector, he said, every day you talk to me, I will ensure that you go in and please do these kind of things for the nation. So what I'm saying that please try to unlearn the way we think. That is complaining, gripping, worried about hurdles. Get rid of them. If you think that we have to do it, this is my end one, form a team, I'm sure that we are going to be successful.
wonderful. And I would like to weigh in on this because, like, since the past year, I've also been involved in entrepreneurship. I've co-founded my startup, Elixir System. So perhaps can weigh on this particular question. And there's a word that I have heard of from this Nassim Nicholas Talebi. He's a Israeli author, I guess so, and that is anti-fragility. Anti-fragility. Like right now, various words have been used called perseverance, resilience, which basically entail that whatever the problems are, you have to withstand them and keep moving forward. But anti-fragility tells something else. It says that whatever the problems you face, it makes you stronger. Like for example, in our previous webinar session, my internet connection was not working that fine, so Pramod sir had to do the moderation. So after that particular webinar session, I went and I actually secured the internet server and brought a better internet connection to my home. So because of that particular problem, the internet connection in my home got better. So that's the basic point that perhaps Dr. DK sir also wants to make. That is, problems are not stop science; they are just a way to make ourselves better. And that these are not just motivation quotes. They are like, I think so. These are the most truest words that I've ever heard. And there is a huge philosophy of complaining and cribbing that the world is not doing enough for us. And there's a quotation from 13th century English literature, which is the cavalry is not arriving, which basically entail that no help is coming and you have to keep moving forward on yourself. So I really thank DK Solsa for sharing these opinions with us.
Yes, sir. And so, like adding to Faraz' point, like the best example for anti-fragility is candle in a fire. Wind basically extinguishes the candle and it strengthens the fire. So, like we can have move on to the next question by Rishabh Singhal, who's a student of BITS Pilani. Sir, Rishabh wants to know that what do you think? How will post-COVID bring change in healthcare, and are we going to care about it as a country?
Yeah, healthcare, I just said in my presentation also, it is going to be a big sector. The COVID is not yet, the coronavirus is not to get going away anywhere. We have to live with the coronavirus. Okay. As I said, coronavirus is a particle. It doesn't die. Okay. So it is going to be a part and parcel of our life. Now look from these doctors, the police people, they never complained about it. They know that they will get infected. So as a scientific community, as a AR community, yesterday one entrepreneurship came to NPL and he said that, sir, do you know that where the most of the infection for the doctors is taking place? I said that it is because direct touch with the patient and probably the PPE quality is not good. So yeah, anyway, those are the factors. He says that the biggest problem it is coming is the changing room. When they change, everybody come to that change and nobody is worrying about how much is the concentration of virus there. And therefore, we sat together and we said that how to decontaminate that. So one of the solution came with is that the UV light that will decontaminate it. So he came with a very good design and this and that, and we said we get a validation. You know, fantastic idea. So wherever they change the dresses, if that gets the contamination free, they will not be contaminated. Then another idea came up. When we get injury in this world, if there is no virus and bacteria around, the wound will heal without any medicine. Essentially, what gets spoiled is that the virus and bacteria they grow around your wound and they create a problem. So then the idea came that can we make the UV light kind of things, and then so so what I'm saying that a new thinking of the healthcare is coming up. So as I said that the touch-free economy, the touch-free healthcare, the touch-free everything is going to be in the market. So we have got a huge scope in the future. Yeah, we can take up next question.
Okay, great, sir. I think we just have time for a last question. There is a question from academia that what are the changes you think that will occur in the academia or are required post COVID-19? Because the whole scenario has been changing to the online sessions, and what will happen to the academia sector, academics and all.
You see, academia will. You see, everything will become now transparent. What we speak, what we write, what we present, what original concept we have got, that everything will get recorded and everything will be digitized and there's going to be transparency. Now, in many schools where I go and teacher do not teach, now that is not going to happen. Even if it's a virtual class, but in virtual class, the people will have to really work hard to give the new concepts. So academia is going to be altogether different, and in my opinion, it is going to be better than the previous one.
Thank you for sharing the points, sir.
Yeah,
I,
there are a few questions on the dashboard, which I will just glance and then say
Yeah,
that.
please, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So Dheeraj Kumar, he says that scope of augmented reality in job opportunity as an academician. You see, huge. The AR can be used for the 3D learning. Okay. The models and then this and that is, there is a huge scope. The SI unit, you scan this circle of 7 SI unit and you can teach the entire history of this one or the physics and this one. The modeling, the mechanism, the AR can do wonderful. Is authentic tutorials available online free to access and use and learn AR design and development? I think there are many, and probably the Pramod will tell that in detail to one. Then there is Ashish Raturi who says that how can we impart hands-on experiments in science amid COVID-19? You see, now the augmented reality comes in. You see, in augmented reality, you can design a virtual experiment as good as the real experiment. And in fact, most of the molecule design and in fact the drug discovery initially was done through this kind of theoretical modeling. Okay, so this also reduces our hard work of coming the hit and trial method by doing the real-time experiments. So in virtual experiment, when you do complete experiment, and then you only do that experiment, so it saves you a large amount of the physical resource. So a new way of things will come up. So Dheeraj Kumar, he says that in India, any institution or organization providing courses related to ARA, of course, the you are part of that series doing a bit of that, and there are many universities now which are coming up, and in my opinion, there should be a strong focus on the AR, and these courses should be built up. And let me appreciate Faraj for taking up this really a good one. One should develop a course and talk to the universities. Okay, and that opens a business for thousands of the youngsters. So if we can build a course based on the AR, learning one, and how to make the AR for the academia. So I think one should make a course, and if you make a course, at least I can ask some of the private universities where the implementation of these things are much easier. I can help you out in doing that. And many of the students who are participating in this one, they can be part of that one. So take some big one. Then there's another question. If we look equity and equality, what scope to learn AR for economically weaker section and SC/ST minorities and Divyang? You see, let me tell you, the intellectual does not talk about any kind of division. And if you look the AR Kalam Saab, our former president, among so many brothers, he was one of the brother. I think total 11 brother and sister. He came up. So let us not put the intellectual and the power of AR in terms of any kind of the social divisions. Anybody who can think will achieve that. How standard procedures of calibration gonna impact the ventilator manufacturing industry in the coming year? You see, calibration is must. So when we have got AR, when we fix up all our parameter fix, we are very close to there. And there are now more than 5,000 NABL accredited laboratories, and one can get the calibration done from them. Just coming to the point, when this pandemic started, we have only 3 laboratories in the private sector which were accredited for testing the COVID. And I also look after the NABL chairman, and I ask that this is not going to solve a problem. We have to accredit as many laboratories possible. Can you believe that during the pandemic, when everything was closed down, everything would say that why we are doing that, it is not possible, this is not working. During this time, we have accredited 174 labs through online. a doctor from Delhi, a doctor from Bombay, online, they are looking the entire process of a lab which is in Chennai. The NABL office, they are guiding them, this is not correct, that is not correct. And it is hard work of almost 16 to 18 hours a day, and we could accredit 174 laboratories. Now, each of the laboratory has got thousands of collection centers. So, which the testing capability you are seeing in the country is the hard work done of these NABL scientists, because they have worked day in and out. So, those who come up say that it is not possible, everything is no, nothing is seized up. In fact, sitting at home, it has given you free time to rethink, rejuvenate, and see that how you can come across these barriers which has been imposed. So next question is the Satish Shah. Can we use the lockdown time to improve infrastructure, making them non-polluting? Yes, yeah, there's a valid question. We should build the infrastructure, and the plus point which has happened by this lockdown and the virus is that the clean air, the clean water, the biodiversity is fantastic. The number of birds we can see is fantastic. So we have to preserve them. So the new thinking, when we are making the new products, devices, we should ensure that the environment is not affected. Nature has done a great help to us, that they have rejuvenated our globe, our Earth, our planet. So we should respect the Mother Nature's decision, and when we are working upon that, so optimization has to be there, and optimization can only be done by this kind of new automation.
Yeah.
Sanjay Joshi says that if we automate jobs, we keep ourselves safe and follow social distancing norms, but at the same time, is not there. Why wearable employability? You see, employability, the same question was being asked when there was a automation of the railway ticket at the Bombay airport, Bombay railway station. And trust me, in 1988, when I was to travel from Bombay to my hometown in Garhwal, I used to sit 3 days at the railway station to get my ticket. And when that automation was taking place, everybody said, why this automation? This will create this jobs. But sorry, it has benefited each and everybody. I can book a ticket from my mobile now. So
Yes,
that
sir.
mindset should get away. Employability is a responsibility of the new generation. You
Indeed,
see,
sir.
during this period, everybody has gone to bankruptcy. But look at Zoom. The Zoom fellow has become, who has started this online conferencing, he has become billionaire. So one has to find out the mechanism of it. How about agriculture using AI? Augmented reality is going to definitely help the agriculture.
Thanks, sir.
Okay.
Yes, so we can find all the particular, like what we can do is, like there are a lot of questions, so perhaps that might be tiring to complete all of them.
Look,
So
don't worry,
I
I'll
Okay,
just
sir.
repeat, there are two more remaining.
Okay, sir.
What do you think that
Yes,
the post-COVID bring change in healthcare? This I've already said. Are guidelines, restriction, regulation being put on Indian government for AR/VR industry integration so that IRVR? You see, again, before we do a constructive job, we started worrying about the negative part of it. Please, from your own side, you do the positive things. Any technology will have a negative part, but that will cultivate it. So don't worry about that. There's being a misuse of that. Misuse comes when the use becomes larger. When anything is not used, nobody is going to misuse it. How can we use the AR in this lockdown time to improve the infrastructure, making non-polluting this one? Okay. So we have come to the most of the questions, and I think
Yes, sir.
we should close.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for answering each of these questions. I am sure the asking the attendees would be really grateful to you for this particular thought, and of course for motivating us and not only enlightening us. And that is one of the biggest points that you have shared. Your opinions on untouched economy, your opinions on industrial 4.0, and the biggest on that students, college students, and even the young researchers, they have to take it up to themselves now for creating the jobs of the future. These are the points which have really resonated with us, and thank you so much. And as Alexa Systems and augmented reality based startup, I think so we can take it forward, the having actual courses for augmented reality, so and labs powered by augmented reality in the coming future. So all of this can be actually done. The action can be taken. So thank you so much for having. Thank you so much for being here. And
thank
I
you.
would also like.
Thank you, Faraj. And from this one, what I can say that please do make a AR course available, which can be of the level of MTech course or maybe a MS course. Okay, and by implementing that course in the university system, so that the new job opportunities can be created.
Sir,
So we
a
have to
certificate.
start that direction.
Yes, sir. Sir, a certification course is already on the way, and probably we can think of it to integrate with the MTech and graduation course. So Elixir is working definitely on that, and we are a part of that too.
Yeah.
Pramod.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
and,
sir.
and what I say that that this is not the top down kind of leadership now. Now the leadership has to be the
Exactly.
horizontal in nature. All are equal. So the typical government system and other system, the hierarchical system, there is a boss and downstream. No, we have to form a group. One in Lucknow, another in Delhi, another in Banaras, and wherever you are across the country. Get together, form a course, give them, and so the entire spectrum post COVID should change.
Yes,
Great,
Yeah.
sir.
of course. And of course, sir. And thank you, Pramod Tanwar, sir, for being here, for making CSR City a part of this wonderful webinar sessions. And thank you, Dr. Chitra, ma'am, for being here and doing the introduction of Dr. DK as well, sir. Thank you, Harshad, for managing the entire the question sessions so seamlessly and managing the crowd also simultaneously. Thank you for doing that. And and above all, big thanks to the attendees for coming here, waking up early in these lockdown times and attending this talk. AirMeet is our webinar partner, so do always consider that further on instead of foreign technologies. So yeah, of course, thank you to everyone for attending this talk, and a big thanks to Dr. DK also.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
So we'll have a next session on 14th, and that in that session we'll have the Asia Pacific head of Vuforia, which is one of the biggest company in augmented reality and immersive technologies. Yeah, it's at 3 p.m., not
Yeah,
10 a.m. The slight change in
yeah.
time.
So you can see.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you, sir. Let's wind up now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Pramod sir. Okay.